Hello AP Biology students, we're going to go over the 9th section in Unit 2. And in this section, we're going to go over something called passive transport. In the next two sections, we're going to discuss the difference between active and passive transport. Both of these are ways that the cell either takes in or pushes out materials. Within passive transport, there's diffusion, osmosis, and something called facilitated diffusion. And within active transport, there are pumps, endocytosis, and exocytosis. Before we get into the specifics of passive transport, let's talk about something called the concentration gradient. Think about a concentration with how many things are in a certain area. For instance, there is a higher concentration of these red dots in this location compared with this location. The concentration gradient tends to move from areas of high concentration to low concentration. There can be a lot of chemistry and talking about the properties of certain molecules, but basically these molecules want to be spread out as far away from each other as they can. So in order to do that, they're going to move from these areas of high concentration to these areas of low concentration. This is what we talk about when we say moving with the concentration gradient. And this specifically is diffusion. This is the movement of molecules from areas of high to low concentration. And this usually typically happens with gases or other nonpolar molecules. Facilitated diffusion is diffusion but across a membrane. And this typically happens through things called channel proteins or carrier proteins. Channel proteins usually allow the molecules to pass without changing the structure of the protein, while carrier proteins usually change the structure in order to move the molecules again from areas of high to low concentration. Our last type of passive transport is known as osmosis. This one's a bit different because it's specifically looking at the movement of water across a selectively permeable membrane. So again, with osmosis, we're now looking at how water moves from areas of high to low concentration. With diffusion, facilitated diffusion, we were looking at the molecules moving from high to low concentration. Now we're looking at where the water is moving, and you can tell in this image there is more water to start out on the left-hand side compared with the right-hand side. This semi-permeable membrane is only going to allow the water to move, and it's going to move from the left side to the right side. Because again, we're looking at the concentration of water, not the molecules. And there is more water per solute on this side to start out with compared with this side. So in this case, the molecules are not going to be able to pass through this membrane, only the water will. So the water will move from this area of high concentration to the area of low concentration. This is why you can see the water level dropping on the left-hand side and rising on the right. I love this meme format. It's just so easy to use. Yeah, water goes from high to low concentration. Now we typically have three different types of solutions when looking at cells in water. In a hypotonic solution, water rushes into the cell because there was a higher concentration of water outside the cell to start out with compared with the inside of the cell. And as you can see, water rushes in, making the cell expand. In a hypertonic solution, it's the complete opposite. There was originally more water inside the cell compared with outside, so the water leaves the cell and the cell then shrinks. In an isotonic solution, there is an even amount of water inside the cell compared with outside, so there's going to be an equal exchange of water into and out of the cell. Again, high quality meme. Cell placed in hypertonic solution, placed in hypo, just perfect. Lastly, when this happens and the cytoplasm shrinks in a cell, we call this plasmolysis. You can see this is a plasmolyzed cell because water has left the cell and the cell has shrunken. Now specifically, this outside layer that you're seeing is a cell wall, so we can tell that this is a plant cell. I just found this meme this year and honestly, again, 10 out of 10, great.